Welcome back to the Terraria updates. We're kicking bottom, man. We are absolutely steamrolling. 2 bosses down. I've still got the twins and Skeletron Prime to do, but as I said, upgrades. And I'm bathing us in green because we're going planting. The exploration part of things had me inspired. I was unlocking all these new recipes, right? And I just didn't know how to get them. I needed things like hallowed bars and things like that. And getting those was important because clearly I'm behind on gear and things. I need to do that. The corruption at this point is over 30% of the world. I kind of think it's done for. And I wanted to get a potion of biome sight so I could see the different biomes and understand what I was in. Because, like, I feel like the water at the end is the ocean. But it doesn't look like an ocean, so maybe it's an ocean, but I'm not sure. That kind of situation is developing. And so I wanted to do this, but I needed Moonglow. Now, I had started planting... I had made planter boxes for a lot of the things, but Moonglow, I just didn't understand. There's a couple of plants that I just don't know how they work. One is Deathweed. I can pick Deathweed, and I know where it grows in the corruption, but I sometimes get seeds and sometimes I don't. In order to replace them. Moonglow, I could not remember for the life of me where I'd seen it. I have some, so I've definitely bumped into it into the past. I had a couple of them in my inventory, but I don't know where they came from. So an adventure was needed because I wanted this biome site thing so I could see what was going on. And so I had to scour the world. It was time for exploration again, scouring the world. I eventually found after quite some time that it grows in the jungle. And so I had to go down into the jungle. While I was there, I noticed a message saying life fruit detected nearby. I couldn't see it anywhere, but I got this message that feels like an important message. Life fruit detected nearby. And I don't know what that is. So I was looking around for it and I couldn't find it and then moved on with my day. Yes, I know what it is. Look, as I'm telling you about this, I know what it is, but at the time I didn't. And I didn't know what life fruit mattered. It might have been healing. It might have been something like that. I don't know. But I kind of ignored it. I was stuck. I'll be honest with you, I was really stuck. I was holding my own-ish out in the open world as long as I didn't get lazy. But I wasn't making progress in terms of damage output, survivability, all those kind of things. So what I decided to do was check every vendor, because that's how I found the Contaminator, which clears up some of the corruption, is just browsing the vendor. I found it. And one thing I'd been definitely ignoring was, like, are there points in the game where the vendors just get new stock? Like, oh, you've progressed this far, this gets new stock. And I was really bad because I was always doing something. When a traveling merchant arrived, checking what it had. Because every time that happened, I was in the middle of something. I was doing something. I didn't want to go back to the base. I just wanted to carry on with whatever I was doing, especially while I'm exploring. And I started checking through all the vendors again. One of the things I noticed that a Mega Shark Gun. Shark Gun was something that I totally benefited from in the early game. And I was like, Mega Shotgun might be the key. I know how it works. I understand it. It's good. It's right on the point with where I need to go. So that's going to be a goal. But now the world is now so big that traversing around it is becoming a problem. So, a new train station. I loved my choo-choo that I made across the world all the way to the cave. The choo-choo was great. So, it's time for choo-choo number 2. I got my choo set up. It took me a while, but I figured out the technique that you can kind of you can sit in the train, keep it going slow, and just drop track as you go, and it'll just keep going. I'm learning these little things now, which make life so easy to get things going. And once that was built up and I could get back to the jungle effectively, which is obviously I'm still after more Moonglow, is I went down there. Turns out the jungle at night is hell on earth, literally, hence the green. It is hell on earth. But I did find a life fruit, which increases your max HP permanently. So it was potions time. I figured this is what I was missing. In my mind, this is what I was missing, is if I just had a ton more HP. I actually mistakenly thought at first it was essentially doubling my HP because it kind of galvanizes the HP bars, but it's not a full doubling of HP, but it's significantly more max HP. I was like, that's what I need to survive some of these things, because some of these bosses are hitting me now for like 3/4 of my HP, and I just can't naturally recover that. I get hit twice and I'm dead by something. So like that was my plan. So I spent the next like couple of hours just browsing around everywhere with Spelunker's potions to find more life fruit HP. And once I had that and I had my gun, it was time to go and try some bosses. And I thought the twins seemed easier than Skeletron Prime. So I went for that. smashed them to pieces. Actually amazing. I came up with an idea that seemed to make sense in my brain, which was to put a teleporter either side, because they get really close and some of them try and charge you. So I was like, if I just put teleporters down and my gun shoots in a perfectly straight line, is that I could just teleport along the horizontal, shoot down the line, hit them, and when they get close again, just teleport to the other side and repeat. It worked perfectly. I killed them in like 3 goes. It was absolutely fantastic. I really had no issue with these bosses, and would be able to... I would go on, like, even though we're not going to show it in the videos, is I would kill them a few times just for gold, essentially. It was a really nice way of making quick gold because they really couldn't kill me. When I killed them, though, I got a message that Plantera had awoken. Now, plants, green, jungle, right? That makes sense. So I went down there and I saw this new thing, Plantera's bulb. But it was a fight that definitely looked doable. It had a lot of tendrils and a lot of crawling things, but with my ability to fly around in my little boat and manipulate it, I just decided to build a giant ass open area, which was hard because the jungle sucks. The jungle absolutely sucks. With all the vines that come through it, the bees that are constantly shooting you with seeming like tracking aim and all that kind of stuff. But this was my game plan. I knew it was going to be a pretty tough fight, but definitely seemed doable if I just had enough space underground to maneuver, to get things sorted. Then it would be absolutely fine to make that happen. So I set up that area and then decided it was time to again try something with corruption. Because you've got to remember, throughout all this process, right, all I'm thinking to myself is, what do I do about the corruption? What do I do about the corruption? Because I have a definite fear that it's just going to take over my base, because it's right at the doorsteps of my base. I'm always contaminating, even though you're probably not seeing how much I do it, but probably every time we go back to the base, I'm re-cleaning the front like 20-30 yards of my base to push the corruption back just enough so it's not getting into my base and making problems for me. And I had an idea. What if I built giant trenches on either side, right? Because there was something with building my quarantine box. It definitely seemed somewhat effective, but it wasn't perfect. Something like that. So what I did is I decided to give some grenades a go and just start blowing up the whole map. And I have an idea where what I can do is I can find the areas where the corruption spawns from, right? There are corrupted biomes. And then just drop enormous bombs from the top of the surface all the way to hell and create like a massive gap, like 7 or 8 blocks wide, of just straight lines down the map to make it like stripy. And that will stop the corruption being able to get across. I think that will work. I don't think it can jump that far. I think it has to be connected to certain blocks in order to be able to move. I know it can go like at least 3 or 4. Because I've seen that in my quarantine little area to make that work. So I think if I make just giant holes through the world, then maybe we can get something done. But at this point, I've got such good tasks in front of me with Plantera and Skeletron Prime that I think we're probably in good shape to prog forward. So my next goal is probably to try out the bombing run and see how effective it is. Kill Plantera, because that fight seems easier than Skeletron Prime, and then get onto Skeletron Prime. And after that, I don't know what's next for us. But the gun has been such an amazing upgrade that I'm feeling pretty confident now, especially with the life. The life and the gun, perfect. Plus the Queen Slime armor, great. We're in good shape. So that's my next goal. So I'll catch up with you next time on that one.